kill you? No, you. You complete me.
Greetings, fellow mortals. Just a reminder, saying it's just my opinion is for cowards. You ever wake up to find terrible news? Well, that happened to me today. I dragged myself out of bed, I made myself go to the gym, I did my full workout, was doing my cool down on the treadmill, I pulled out my phone and I saw the awful news that the Acolyte was cancelled. And this came not long after I learned that She-Hulk was cancelled as well. And upon learning this, I wanted to drop to my knees in the middle of the gym, raise my arm to the sky and scream, "Why, Disney, why?" Don't get me wrong, I thought both shows were awful, but I didn't hate them. I wanted them to continue so much. The writing from the Nepo babies couldn't have been worse if they tried. It felt like both the Acolyte and She-Hulk wanted to mock the source material, and the fans for even liking the genres. Let's make shows where the beloved heroes are actually awful, and the new main characters have to wag their fingers at them. And if you don't like it, don't watch. And apparently, not a lot of people watched. How do I know? Because the show has got cancelled.
Well, that's the end of me.
My biggest question with both shows was, who was the core audience? Who was this made for? To me, it seemed like the shows were specifically made for people who hated the source material, but was going to watch the show anyway, so they wanted to enjoy mocking what they hated. So the shows were specifically made for me in mind, apparently. I knew after Endgame that everything was downhill from here, so my expectations were very low, and at the very least I wanted to laugh. And I've never been that big of a fan of Star Wars. In fact, sometimes I feel like a full-on Star Wars hater. There are far more Star Wars movies that I dislike than I actually like. I'm just saying. I don't particularly have any skin in the game with Star Wars. In fact, I get more enjoyment out of it when it's bad than when it's good. At least then I get to laugh about how bad the writing is. I get to feel better about my own writing, and I get to laugh at people arguing online. That is a lot more important and entertaining to me than them being consistent with the lore. Even from what little I know about Star Wars lore, I realize that they got a lot of things wrong in the Acolyte. And I know this because I got a bunch of lectures from my wife. This is her book, by the way. She is a lot bigger fan than I am. And who says households with mixed beliefs can't work? If a Star Wars hater and a Star Wars lover can coexist in one household, then I think there's a chance for anyone.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
More like 1 out of 1,000,000.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
As for She-Hulk, I already got the conclusion I wanted with Endgame. I'm happy where it ended. There is a distinct line separating the two different parts of the MCU, the ending and what came after it. Once again, a lot more bad than there was good. I mean, it could be a little frustrating to me because the solutions to fixing the problems were right there. It was very simple, but at the same time, I did enjoy the dumpster fire, and I didn't have the emotional connection that I once did because Endgame already happened. But She-Hulk was so bad that I ended up delighting in how terrible it was. I became a huge fan of She-Hulk and the Acolyte just because I wanted to see more of this train wreck. But most people aren't like me. They don't like to laugh at bad stories, and they don't learn from experiencing bad writing. Don't forget, the internet is a very small portion of the population. Most of the normal people in the world will turn something off if they don't like it. There are about 50 million different options for people in that moment. So why keep watching something if they think that it sucks? They'll just flip over to something else.
You want another slice?
No, I'm okay.
What else is on?
Yeah, let's see what else.
Where's the TV guy?
And apparently, enough people did that to get the shows cancelled. The audience has spoken. They did not like you openly mocking the things that they loved. What a shocker. Holy M. Night Shyamalan, Batman. Who could have seen this coming besides you know absolutely everyone? I'm a weirdo. I like the shows because they were bad, but most people didn't. The only individuals that thought the show was actually good were people that are always online fighting the culture war and Disney Corpo shills. None of that matters to me. I only care about whether a story is good or not. My most anticipated show of this year is Arcane Season 2, which is basically a giant advertisement for League of Legends. Complete trash of a game. But guess what? The writing and storytelling in Arcane is so good that I don't care that it's basically advertisement for complete trash. Good writing is good writing. I don't care who you are, I don't care where you're from, I don't care what you believe, just tell a good story and I will be absorbed. Okay, admittedly there are a few limits. If I find out that someone is a complete monster, then I probably won't support them anymore. But besides that, I don't care.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
I think a lot of the problems involve the fact that no one involved wanted to make a Star Wars show or to make the She-Hulk show. The Acolyte secretly wanted to be about the Witch Coven, and She-Hulk wanted to be Sex in the City, which is fine if that's what you want to do with your own project, but guess what? This is Star Wars in the MCU. You don't get to just do whatever you want. And I think the fact that both shows got canceled proves my point with that one. And I'm sad about it. I wanted to see the dumpster fires continue, but general audiences, not so much. Their job was to bring in the normal people, and guess what? They didn't, so I guess you don't get to continue the show. Of course, they were kind of doomed to failure from the start because of the budgets. Over $100 million for a single season of a television show. What were you thinking? There was no way you're gonna get your return on investment. But love of storytelling, what does that have to do with making art? Well, if you want more television shows and movies, they do need to make money. And considering that people probably dropped The Acolyte and She-Hulk partway through and then never went back to watch or talk about them ever again, that was probably a big issue. Both shows were memory hold basically a week after they were completed, with people only coming back to talk about it because of how bad it was, or to complain about the She-Hulk twerking scene. And honestly, I'm just over here wondering why the building wasn't collapsing around her as She-Hulk shook her terrible CGI booty cheeks.
You almost tasted that. Num 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 num, eat it up. Go play.
But as someone that enjoyed how bad both shows were, I take heart in knowing that they'll be replaced by something just as awful. I mean, come on, the people at the top are still there. They're still in charge. And until they're overthrown, like with what happened with Vince McMahon and WWE, nothing is going to change. I'm still going to have a bunch of television shows, movies, and online discourse to laugh at, so I win in the end. But the vast majority are going to have to watch the shows that they hate, and then people that like them are going to be mad when the shows are canceled. So basically everyone else loses, and that makes my victory all the sweeter. Remember friends, victory doesn't matter unless everyone else loses. And I'm going to keep winning because these shows and movies are going to keep coming out and they're all going to be terrible. Fans are going to be mad, haters are going to be mad, and corpos are going to be mad because they're going to lose a lot of money. And the only way to fix this is to overthrow the top. Do a revolution, a coup. I mean, someone needs to be fired besides the artists who worked their asses off to make these projects presentable at all. I do feel bad that they're out of work, especially Squid Game guy who's going to go back to Korea and warn all of his fellow actors not to come over to the States because my god did they screw him over.
Rizazaba, Zigazabo, Rajagabu.
What's going on? Why don't they like it? We spent $250 million on this.
Have I ever told you the definition of insanity? It's doing the exact same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what's going to be the next shows. And I'm here for them. I'm going to be laughing the entire time. I'm looking forward to watching everyone else suffer. And if the next projects end up being miraculously good, then I will praise them to high heavens. But my biggest hope is that they don't end up being mid, because if they're just average, then I get nothing from this at all. But what do you think? Are you like me and are sad that these shows got canceled, or are you delighted that they're gone forever? Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, if you disagree with all of this, that's fine. After all, everyone is entitled to their objectively wrong opinion.
Despite all we've been through, it was worth it.
Yeah, let's have another.
Thank you all so much for watching.
Still here?
Good night, everybody.
Do not despair.